All right, all right. Positive energy all the time. Good to see everyone this evening. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're all feeling well. Rep your city, rep your city. You know how we do. Represent your city. Well, I got some bad news. Bad news. We have Sacramento, California in the building. Vernon, Texas is here. Dade County is here. Rep your city, rep your city. Rep your city. I tell you. What a nightmare this is turning out to be so far. Also, we have Montgomery, Alabama in the building. Shout out to all my people in Alabama. We have Phoenix in the building. Much respect to everybody in Phoenix. We got Cincinnati in the house. What up, Joseph? Positive energy, my brother. We got Cincinnati in the building. Shout out to everybody in Cincinnati, Ohio. I spent a lot of time in Ohio growing up. My sister's brother, my uncle, lived in Ohio. Ohio's a nice place. Cleveland, Cincinnati. I went to Cleveland, I think for a Sizzler, a show where Sizzler performed. I was a vendor at some event there. It'd be good to get back out and get to all the different cities. Ladies, send your beautiful pictures in, okay? I want to highlight you beautiful ladies. So send me your prettiest pictures, okay, ladies? You can send it to Pharaoh El-Aton at Yahoo. All right? Send it to Pharaoh El-Aton at Yahoo. Send your most beautiful pictures. And I'm going to highlight you. I'm putting a little presentation together. And every time I get a new picture, I will add you to the wonderful presentation. Much respect to all the beautiful queens that sent your great pictures. You look so lovely. Y'all check it out. So yeah, ladies, send your beautiful pictures so I can expand that presentation. I'm really looking forward to all the pictures to come to make it even nicer, have it run a little bit longer, and give the ladies some love and make the channel be versatile, you know? Since I'm a male and I've always got a lot of male energy, I just wanted to show some love to the women. So, ladies, send those beautiful pictures. Send them to Pharaoh El-Aton at yahoo.com. Okay. Looking forward to your pictures. The ladies that send pictures, you look absolutely wonderful. You look great. Add a little beauty over here. Well, my phone rang today, and someone let me know that they got a notice today saying that their SNAP benefits would be delayed, that they would not be receiving it on the 1st of November because of the shutdown. And they were devastated because they're struggling. They have some health issues. They don't work because of their health issues. They're on a very tight fixed income, and they really depended on those SNAP benefits. Good to see you, Malik. We got New Orleans here. We got the beautiful Mrs. Moore representing Atlanta. We have Houston in the building. We have Orlando here. Atlanta, Georgia is here. Welcome one and all. So I got to do the job of the bad news. I just don't know what's going on. I'm telling you. I mean, everybody won't really find out till tomorrow. But it's going to be pure panic. I'm probably going to be volunteering my services somewhere. I'm going to be looking tomorrow when everybody's open. I will probably be working at some food pantry or some government. Maybe the city of Chicago is doing something. I'll find out. I'll probably be out helping them disperse food. That's what it's looking like. So it looks like I'm going to have to roll up my sleeves November and go out and do a little community service to help people get food. I don't know how bad it's going to get. I don't know if I'm going to have to try to raise money too. But you know, this is a big old city. There's a lot of people. How do we feed all these people? The babies, yeah. Well, it's it's not just the elders, Malik. It's not just the elders. It's Link is people that's disabled, people that's in wheelchairs, people that's on crutches, people that got missing limbs, people that are blind, deaf, dumb. Like, I don't think people really, you know what I mean? Like, it's for a lot of people that really can't make it. There's this vibe out here, Malik, that I don't think they do a good job in this country of letting people know about the people that really can't make it. They're not lazy. They're not lazy. This administration is a very greedy administration. They're doing things uh, to make themselves rich while mistreating the rest of the public. You know, the Trump administration just sent a lot of money to South America. So it does seem to be corruption at the highest level. And it seems like ICE and all that stuff is a distraction from the corruption and like revenge, like some weird Democrat versus Republicans where Trump felt like the Democratic Party was going after him. But I mean, Trump should have been in prison for January 6th. That was clearly treason. He showed no skills, no leadership qualities, and he basically coerced them to go out there. And so he's a serious problem. His supporters seem to have a lack of understanding the bad things that can happen to them. So we're watching people support him that will suffer. You know, they're going to be upset, but it's going to be too late because he's not helping his supporters. Many of these farmers that lost their workers was his supporters. Many of these people that get this SNAP and get these benefits of his supporters, white Americans get most of the welfare by far. The propaganda to paint blacks as the ones that get welfare, to paint blacks as the ones that do the most crime is dangerous for white America because now they're in the dark and they don't understand the bad things. So, it's like has a double effect when you're putting out this propaganda. At the same time, you're keeping your people blind. They're going to get blindsided. A lot of white Americans are going to get blindsided because they believe the propaganda and don't see the danger within their own community. Everything that happened with Nazism and the Great Depression, yeah, he's pretty much. And I hope, Robert, absolutely everything don't happen, because one thing that really they don't want to say about the Great Depression was the Dust Bowl. And the Dust Bowl destroyed all the farmland. And before the Dust Bowl was like the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl, but the farmland was already depleting. And so the problem with Trump is there's no environmental responsibility with these big countries. So when we have the environmental problems that we're going to have, we're already having them, but they're not reporting them, along with fiscal sloppiness, it's going to be horrible. Because we're definitely headed for serious environmental problems. It's already happening, but they're not reporting it. So the general public is absolutely asleep. Because, they go to work, you come home, and then you watch TV, and you just watch the programming on the TV. That's why it's called programming, because it's just to program you. And out of 100% of Americans, I would bet that only probably about 13% know what's going on. I would say another 10 to 15% is in the conspiracies. A lot of conspiracies are false flags. You'll see more conspiracies than you see facts. So you can go and see a whole bunch of conspiracies on social media, but you don't see no reports on all these natural disasters. Always a pleasure, Alexis. And so conspiracies are horrible, because what conspiracies put you to sleep. You hear this conspiracy and you go, oh, wow. You look out for it. Then you hear that conspiracy. Oh, you look out for it. You hear that conspiracy and that conspiracy and that conspiracy. After a while, you go to sleep on it. Meanwhile, the real things is happening. You ain't going to be ready for it. Because there's people having fun with conspiracies. And the bad thing about conspiracies a lot of times is there are things that could happen, but also could not happen. And so it creates, it puts everybody to sleep. It's basically conspiracies are the boy that cried wolf. He cried wolf, everybody ran up, there was no wolf. Everybody went back down the mountain. He called wolf, everybody ran up the hill again, no wolf, everybody went down. He called wolf, nobody went up there. Wolf ate him up. You keep crying wolf, when the wolf really comes, everybody will be asleep. So this news hit today. People hit me up. They know I'll be on live. They know they want me to warn. It's like, man, go on your live and warn everybody that they most likely, unless something drastic happens, they will not be getting their link. Here in Illinois, I think they get it on the 4th. They will not be getting their link. That money, that is, you get so much to buy food and you get so much cash. So you get enough to buy food, you get enough to buy cash, and what they give you It's not. It's not. You know, most Americans will be like, "Oh, you're getting free." It's not enough to. It's not enough to really. They're not. They're not. They're not gaining from that. They're not gaining that money and them food stamps. That food you can buy in that money that don't last no time under this economy. I mean, you still be living like in total poverty, basically. When you look at the price of gas, car note, car insurance, public transportation is expensive too. Electric bill is expensive. Car insurance is expensive. Phone is expensive. And money goes nowhere, really, unless you just sit still and just be a miser and try to save every penny. You'll always be in the hole. By the time you get to the last week, you'll be out of money, waiting for the first again. So this is a problem. So I searched, I looked it up, found out it was absolutely true. IDHS customer. As of today, IDHS has been told by federal officials SNAP benefits will be delayed due to the federal shutdown starting November 1st. For more information, go to snapfederalimpact.illinois.gov. And that's what I'm getting ready to talk about. Eric, can you believe this, Eric? This is absolutely crazy, ain't it? Eric, this is absolutely crazy. To cut off people's money for a little food and to pay some bills on the first day as we head to the biggest holidays in the country. It's the first day of November. Thanksgiving is a national holiday in the United States celebrated on the fourth Thursday of November. It originated as a harvest festival. Thanksgiving has been celebrated nationally on and off since 1789 with a proclamation by George Washington after a request by Congress. Much respect, Omar, for the super chat. You all contribute to the channel. So to do this, is absolutely horrible. You know, I was a vendor. I had a job. I got out of high school. I worked for a book factory. Then I went to music college. Then I went and worked for a stock exchange. And then I worked for the U.S. government. I decided I wanted to work for myself. So I started working for myself, which means I didn't put no money in the system to get nothing. So all these years I've been working for myself. So I got nothing in the system. No Social Security, none of that. Working for myself. And when I got stabbed, at that time, I was on my way to establishing my business where I would have been paying into Social Security. Right? My business was growing. I had gotten my feet wet and I had just really found something that was going to go somewhere. as a professional vendor at these concerts. I was making good money. I would have been able to pay taxes. I would have been able to get my corporation and all that, right? I came back to Chicago in a wheelchair, couldn't walk, had to go to rehab to learn how to walk. So I couldn't get no Social Security because I hadn't been putting no money in. And when they gave me welfare, they gave me like $89 a month in a wheelchair. Now, what's crazy about it is, regardless that I didn't put any money into the system from working, I was still really young. I was 30, right? Which means I had only been working 12 years. I worked some years in the system, but it wasn't enough. They said, well, you didn't work enough years. But the crazy thing is, everything I buy, I pay taxes. Not only do everything I buy pay taxes, I come from a family of 4. My sister paid taxes, my mama paid taxes, my daddy paid taxes of money they never got back. My mother passed away at 70. She didn't get none of her money back. My father passed away in his 80s. He didn't get much of his money back. You got to at least live to 100 or 90 something. You know, you have to retire and get your money at least to 90 to get, right? So when you don't eat right and don't take care of yourself and you work to 65 and you pass away at 50 something, or you pass away at 66, 67, you ain't getting nothing. You work for nothing. You're not getting nothing back. Right? And so you have to work a certain amount of years within the system. And the work I was doing on my own hadn't been established to a business, because when you start in a business, you're just out there trying to make it happen, right? So I'm out there trying to make it happen, and the business is growing. I'm learning how to go to concerts, right? So I'm growing this business from selling incense to incense and body oils to now T-shirts, hats, and everything, and doing big festivals. So I'm going from standing on the street selling to going to events, paying for booths and all of this. Now, as we go into the vending to pay for booths, when I first started vending and I went to an event, there were no booths. I asked the lady, can I sell here? It was like a Bob Marley celebration. She said, yeah, just give her $25. Boom. Now they start charging booth spaces, $50, $100, $150, $200, to the point where now they charge you so much for your booth space, you ain't gonna make the money back for your booth space. If it's a 2-day festival and you there Saturday and Sunday, you ain't gonna make none of your money till sometime Sunday. All the money you making is gonna be what you pay for your booth. They want like $800, crazy prices. Not to mention, when you sell your merchandise, you're not making all that money because you bought it. So if you bought T-shirts for $6 and you sell them for $12, you're only making $6. You can't count all that money and say half of that money is your money already. So they just shut the vendors down. It doesn't, if I was you, the worst thing you could do is be a vendor, unless you're lucky enough to have somewhere you're going to sell $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 worth of stuff. Other than that, you ain't going to make no money doing that, because the people throwing the events, they making the vendors pay for the event. So they charge you for a booth, and they using that money to rent the place and to pay the performers and stuff. So they making you pay for the event. Then they charging people to come in, right? So they taking your money to throw the event, then they charging the people. So the people got less money when they come in because they charging them a nice fee to come in, which is hurting the vendors because they done spent all this money to come in. They got less money to spend with the vendors. So that became a huge scam. So people can't make any money because at the job, they take all your taxes. The phone company rob you. The insurance company for your car rob you. Your rent robs you. Your mortgage robs you. Your electric bill robs you. Your internet robs you. Your phone bill robs you. The people don't have any money. And the rich people, they're the ones robbing you. So when these rich people talk about how they got so much money, they on the side of the robbers. Yeah, I bet you do got a lot of money. You working for the insurance company robbing me. You working for the medical insurance company that's robbing us. You're working for the people that's robbing us. You know, you're not doing nothing legit. Talk about you went in the real estate business and how much you charge your people to live in your property. You're robbing them. You see brothers be talking about going to real estate. They be crooks. They're overcharging people to live in them homes and them apartments. And then brag that he's making a lot of money. You're not making nothing. The people that live in them buildings making the money and just giving it to you. You're overcharging. A 2-bedroom apartment ain't worth nothing but $800. I don't give a damn where it's at. And that's in a big city like Chicago, $800. In a small city, $600. 1 bedroom, $500. That's all it's worth. That's all it's worth. There's no apartment worth no $1,500, $1,800, $2,200. Nah, that stuff ain't worth that. And because they robbing you, the city robs them. See how it works? The city knows how much they charging, so now the city robs them for their property taxes for the apartment complexes through the roof. So every Peter's robbing Paul, Paul robbing Jesus. That's how it's going. So them people need that little bit of money. Now, Trump just sent millions and millions of dollars down to South America. I tell you, this country crazy. Millions of dollars to South America. Millions of dollars he sent to the Ukraine. Millions of dollars here and there and there. Compared to that money they sending, link is chump change. And you sending all this money everywhere, but the soldiers got to go and had to go this past week, to the food banks. The soldiers had to go to the food banks. The people that put their life on the line had to go to the food bank. There's homeless people everywhere. The homeless camps will blow your mind. If you knew where some people were sleeping, you wouldn't believe it. All under the viaducts, all around the train tracks, in the bushes around the train tracks, anywhere they won't be detected. It's so bad that they found some stray dogs in LA in a homeless tent eating the person because the person had passed away. You hear what I'm telling you? They found a dog in there eating a person that had passed away. So those dogs now got the taste for that human flesh. No telling how many homeless people are somewhere where we don't know where they at, but the dogs got good nose, they can find them. So we're going to end up with man-eating dogs soon. It'll hit the news in a couple of years. Packs of dogs. Yeah. Yeah. I ain't kidding. Look. Family found mother's unalive body eaten by dogs at LA homeless encampment. They're demanding answers. This was in May this year. Said she brought flowers to her mother for Mother's Day. Her mother wasn't home. Well, she left the flowers and thought they would see each other. But the holiday came and went. 2 days later, her sister seeing them, they went searching for their mother in the Westlake neighborhood near downtown Los Angeles. A phone tracking had then led her to a homeless encampment where she said she found her mother's body being eaten by dogs. Dogs with an S. The discovery of the 46-year-old mother's body and the cause of death remain an investigation by authorities. Now, where are those dogs? What's going on? No problem. You see what I'm saying? So we headed into some, 46. People aren't taking care of themselves, devastating. They're eating bad. They have mental issues, alcoholism, drug abuse, violence against them. A lot of women have been abused. Uh, people got like serious issues. Certain people have some slight retardation, and they can have a retardation where they can kind of function, but they're not really there. Yeah, people pay $2,500 for rent. Like it's straight robbery. Straight robbery. They're robbing so bad that when I go to Whole Foods, they have so much stuff that's overpriced that all I got to do is come every week and then they're just giving it away. Because nobody buys it. Then they give it away. And nobody buys it and they give it away. And nobody buys it and give it away. And then they discontinue the item. They like sell these little bitty plant-based like Reese cups, 2 in a pack. They want like $2 and something for them. And it's not worth no $2.50, $2.60 for them 2 things. Then when nobody buys them, oh, you can get 3 packs of them for $5. Now they give you a price. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. So I just go in there and check until nobody buys them, and then when they go on sale, I buy a bunch of them. But I'm not giving you no $2.69 for 2 little things, some chocolate, some peanut butter. Are you crazy? And so right now I'm restructuring my whole thing. I'm about to put some serious money. I'm getting me food processor, a very expensive blender, a dehydrator if I could find one, ain't got no plastic. And I'm gonna make everything, my own ketchup, my own mustard, my own salad dressing. I'm not buying nothing from them. I already got my Berkey, so I'm already filtering my own water. And I'm not buying anything. I'm making everything. Let's take a break. Ladies, send those beautiful pictures in, okay? So yeah, ladies, send those beautiful pictures in for El-Aton at Yahoo so we can expand this little presentation I'm putting together. But yeah, everything that's not essential is going to be closed. Clubs, closed. Bowling, closed. Roller skating, closed. Won't be that many parties. Restaurants will get scarce. Only the really good ones with reasonable prices will stay open. And over 2026, unless there's a total turnaround, a lot of things will be closed. They're closing a bunch of Starbucks. I think they said about 2,000 across the country, something like that. They're closing Walgreens left and right, CVS is left and right. They're bringing in cheaper food into whole food. Americans are buying more frozen food to feed their family. They can't afford the more expensive food. It's definitely not good. So these people are going to lose their SNAP at the first. They really need it bad. If they don't get that money on there so those people in Illinois can get their SNAP on the 4th and all across this country, if those people cannot get their supplemental nutrition assistance program funds, it's going to be a disaster. Many of those people are elders. And when I mean elders, people call me an elder. But I be outside, I be everywhere. And these people are 20 years older than me. Seriously. They got those things you push to walk. It's a lot of them. It's a lot of them. Don't let it fool you. It's a lot, man. Listen, it's a lot of elderly people. Trust me, I'm telling you. And it's going to get more because I'm the boomer. So my generation, when they get there, that's going to be a lot. Even with the early, with them passing away early, it's still going to be a lot. A lot. And the way they eat, don't exercise and stuff like that, it's going to be crazy. You see them zipping around on those little things like little motorcycles. They can't walk. You see them with the thing you push that you can sit down on. And they hold it and they be walking and pushing it, and then they can sit on it if they get tired. It's a bunch of them. I was talking to a lady the other day, and she said she worked in a building. I forgot what she said it was. She says like 45 floors, and it's a bunch of older people in there. And she says so many in there that when she get up to get on up at the 40-something floor, it take 12 minutes before she get downstairs. I said, are you serious? And I'll take 12 minutes. I timed it because it got to stop and pick up so many people. It's full of them. I'm telling you, it's crazy. And that's Chicago. So imagine how many is in New York. These big cities, LA, New York, Houston, Chicago. Y'all would be surprised how many people's in these big cities. A lot. These big cities got the same amount of people some whole states got. And it's a bunch of people need assistance. A bunch of people need assistance. So I don't know what next month's going to be like. A lot of times they'll go and they'll, at the last minute, they'll, you know what I'm saying? They'll work out something. So a lot of times the government play these games, and then at the last minute, like the 30 something of this month, the 29th of this month, they'll release the money again. Because I doubt if they let them people don't get their food for Thanksgiving. But I can tell you this, unless they give these people a stimulus, it's got to be at least $5,000. It's going to be a mess. So they saying by Tuesday, or both sides can work together, the shutdown will end. I figured something like that. But unless they give $5,000 stimulus, this country is going to hit a wall. Okay? Yeah, they're on some type of assistance because who can afford to live here? They can't afford to live here, and they're not that smart because you need the people at the bottom make more money, because if they don't make more money, all of the people at the top, they're going to lose their jobs. And so there's a lot of people that got these nice jobs, they're finna lose them. It's a lot of people finna lose those jobs. And if they don't have their money right, they're going to lose them homes. They're going to lose them fancy cars. If they don't have their money right to be able to sustain for 2.5 years and to maintain those homes and cars, they're going to have to sell it. Because these people are not that smart. You don't have the upper echelon jobs if you don't have good jobs at the bottom. The good jobs at the top are dependent on good jobs at the bottom. If you don't have good jobs at the bottom, you don't have a top. You don't have any way for the money to come in. The people that's making a lot of money, they're making a lot of money because they're getting a little bit of money from a lot of people. If you cut down that amount of people that's giving you a little bit of money, you're going broke. You're going broke. These medical industry, broke. Dentists, broke. Insurance, broke. All these top-level jobs, they're finna crash. It's going to be over with. They're going to start calling in these people with these night jobs and giving them their pink slip. Because there's not no money from them at the bottom to pay you. Where you going to get it from? Everybody's going to be going vegan. Everybody's going to be eating cabbage and rice and stuff like that because it's going to be cheaper and ain't nobody going to want to have to go to the doctor. They'll be like, man, I can't be going to the doctor. I can't eat that stuff. I can't do it no more. I can't do it. I gotta take care of my own health. Anybody that's not really cleaning up the way they eat, you're crazy anyway. That's a whole other story. Like if you're eating what the basic people eating, I don't know what's wrong with you. I was just at some people's homes, and a lot of the older people not doing good in this family. And some of them came by. And I'm watching these people, these 3 or 4 older people come by. They doing horrible, right? Horrible. A few already passed away. And I'm watching the younger ones in their 30s and 40s, 50s, and they eating the same thing that the sick ones is eating. And I didn't say nothing. It was like being in I don't know what, it's like, I can't tell. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. And I'm just looking at them. And I'm like, y'all don't see how they are? And y'all are eating the same thing? Like, you don't? It just was crazy. And I was like, so you don't think that's where you're headed? I was like, And so they're going to have to eat better because you ain't going to be able to afford to be getting no cancer. Man, you're not going to be able to afford to get sick. If you ain't doing self-help, you finna be desolate. You ain't gonna have a chance in hell. And I'm just there. I feel like, I don't know what to call it. It's a weird feeling. You like I'm on the planet, like with a bunch of I don't know, like I landed on a primitive planet or something. So they be looking like. It's like a bunch of primitive people with a sophisticated trinkets. Like they got sophisticated cars and stoves and stuff, but the actual people, oh my God. The hospital, I had a friend it was my children's mother, and I always help out my exes if something happened, right? So I always go help them out, but there's no relationship or nothing like that. But I always help them out because they're my children's mother, and I don't be wanting my children to be upset. So I got a call. My nose is bleeding and it's running everywhere. And the ambulance took her to the hospital. So I'm on the phone. I go to the hospital. I get to the hospital. She's sitting there. She messed up. So I'm at the hospital sitting with her. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours. We sat there so long that she just left. She never got to see nobody. And here was the crazy thing. We sat there so long, and the waiting room was so full that they made everybody sitting there with the people leave. They made me leave her in there because they needed the seats. So they made all the husbands or mothers or anybody, only the patient could stay in there unless it's probably a child. So they made us all leave. I'm like, I can't leave her in here. Don't you see this lady look like she almost on her deathbed? They made me leave. So I go in my car across the street from the hospital. This was at a little company of Mary. So I'm sitting here, the hospital's over there. The parking lot's where I'm at, then there's the inside like parking lot, I guess, where and every so many minutes, an ambulance. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's why they didn't get to see no doctors, because ambulances was constantly coming. 3 an hour, at least. 3 to 4 an hour. And when they come, the doctors got to see them first. So the doctors is going to see the people in the ambulance first before they see the people in the waiting room. So that's how I realized why they ain't never get to see no doctor. Because I don't know what was going on. It was the 4th of July weekend too, I think. And they was coming in like flies. I don't know. Now, it might have been because that's the only place had a trauma center. See, every hospital don't have a trauma center. So the hospital that does have a trauma unit, so like I told her, I said, next time, don't go to no hospital got no trauma unit. Go to one of the other hospitals, you're going to get to be seen. We went to the wrong hospital. If you got an emergency and you don't feel well, make sure you go to a hospital, don't have a trauma unit. Then you'll get to see a doctor, you'll get to be put in a room. But if you're in the room, got a trauma center, and the hospital got a trauma center, you might not see nothing. You understand? You might not see nothing. Facts. You say people need to be in urgent care. Ain't no urgent care. Where that's at? A city like Chicago ain't got enough urgent care. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, ain't no what man. Where you live at, Lena? What city you live in, Lena? Because a lot of the stuff they be selling and the dreams they be selling. All right, hold on. Alexandria, Virginia population. Okay, it's 159,000 people. There's 159,000 people in Alexandria, Virginia. And so when the news come on to be saying this different stuff, this is how they're able to make people think that there are solutions, right? They're able to make people think it's a solution because where they live at. Now, let's talk about urgent care in a city with 2,721,000. That's when the reality sets in. What the plans that they got for people in the United States can never work. It ain't gonna never work because they're not taking into consideration the reality of the populations in New York. New York got 8 million people. Houston, Los Angeles, they're not taking that into consideration. And so when you got a bunch of politicians from some little places, they're just not realistic. They don't have a realistic outlook. So that's why when you live somewhere and you hear, oh, 10 people got shot in Chicago, you think it's a lot of people. But in reality, that ain't no lot of people. This 3 cities. That's just 3 people in each city. But they just be like Chicago, and they, you know, and they don't really use the percentages. Now, when you start taking per capita, Chicago ain't even in the top 20 for shootings per capita. And so when you got basically America is trying to bring in futuristic ideas in a primitive society. They're basically primitive. They haven't updated the reality of America. They haven't updated it. Because if they updated the reality, they wouldn't be tripping over the violence in Chicago with 3 million people. They'll be like, that's not a lot. That somebody can get shot on the north side of Chicago. If you're on the south side, you don't know. That's light years away. That could easily be like another state. If I'm on the south side of Chicago and I drive to the north side of Chicago, if I'm on the north side of Chicago and drive to Wisconsin, Milwaukee, it's the same amount of time. It takes me the same amount of time to go from here to Milwaukee as it would take me to go from the south side of Chicago to the north side. I can go to a whole nother state. If I'm on the south side, I can get to Indiana quicker than I could get to the north side of Chicago. And so they haven't updated America for New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston. You got a bunch of congressmen and senators, they from little ass places. How could they run a country with big old cities like this? They can't. They don't have a clue what they're doing. You from Idaho, Iowa. Your biggest city got 500,000 people, 700,000 people. How could you represent the United States and your major cities is making all the money? And that's Trump's problem. How you gonna go to war with Chicago? And Chicago almost got 3 million people, and that's what's bringing in the large amount of money in your country. Without Chicago, Los Angeles, Houston, and New York, America would be broke. They're the places making all your money. Basically, you ain't making no money in them little places like that. There ain't no money. If you got a little place and you making money, it's because you selling stuff to the big places. If you out in the middle of nowhere with John Deere tractor, they wouldn't make no money if it wasn't for these bigger states. Because the farmers wouldn't make no money to buy the tractors if they didn't have people like in Chicago, New York, going to the grocery store buying all these peaches and plums and stuff. Who you think you selling all the food to? You're selling all the food to these big cities, and we the ones funding the whole farming industry, the whole agriculture industry. Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, and Houston is funding the whole agricultural system in the United States. We the ones funding it. You get rid of us, you ain't selling nothing. Scraps. You get rid of us, everybody could grow their own food. If you get rid of us, everybody could just grow a little food in the back in their little cities. You'd have plenty of food. The food got to come in for these huge cities like this, where it's so many people, there ain't nowhere to grow no food. There ain't nowhere to grow no food, Scott. You know, people like, you need to grow your own food. Where you live at? You gotta live somewhere empty. Because there's no way you would be in New York or Chicago talking about grow your own food. Where? Ain't no room to grow no food here. Where you gonna grow it at? It's all people here, a lot of them. You can go, I grew some food here. That food gonna last you 2 weeks. If that. And you can't even grow everything. You're gonna grow some things. Like, okay, I got some red peppers, but you can't grow no food to sustain in Chicago. Not just down south. You can grow food in Indiana. You can grow anywhere where there ain't no people, Pharaoh. You can grow plenty food in Indiana. You can grow plenty food in Wisconsin. You can grow food in all these states that ain't got no people, not just down south. But you can't grow food in the major cities. You can grow food in Illinois. We got plenty of farming in Illinois. Illinois grows a lot of food, bro. But Chicago can't grow no food. And down south can grow food, but it ain't got the economy for nobody to live there to grow the food. Down south can't sustain enough people to have enough workers to grow the food. Ain't no jobs down there. You'll starve down there, down south. Down south only got enough jobs for the y'all that's down there. You add more people down there, y'all will go broke. That's why you can get an apartment down there for 800, 900, because ain't no money down there. They're industrial farming, so that don't hire that many people. They got big old tractors and big old things and big things to water everything. You know what I'm saying? No, it ain't no jobs. You know what I'm saying? People keep asking me, I want to move down south. I'm like, yeah, do what? What I'm gonna do down there? Be poor? Uh-uh. Ain't no job, ain't no money down there. I could wash cars here and make more money than you could make at your job down there because it's a lot of cars to wash. Be poor comfortably? Not really. They ain't comfortable down there. Birmingham is as violent as ever. Birmingham's one of the most violent cities in the United States. It definitely ain't comfortable down there. It's uncomfortable. I'm not saying down south is inferior. I'm just saying down south don't got the jobs. So I'm not saying it's inferior, but it's not designed for no jobs. You know what I'm saying? It's not designed for no jobs. And people that live in other areas, they kind of born and raised there, so it's nice to them. People like us that's born in the city like Chicago, we wouldn't like it. I can't live down south. I can't live in no slow place. I can't do it. You have to be born for that. That's something you have to be born for. Chicago's a beautiful city, but doesn't have the same level of high paying jobs as the DMV. I don't know who told you that. Who told you that? I don't know who told you that. Jobs is based on what job you get. And if you live in Chicago, you're gonna go into medical. And medical make a lot of money. A big city like this need a lot of hospitals, need a lot of medical. And medical makes more money than anybody. So I don't know, you told you that we have more medical jobs here than the DMV. The DMV ain't got no DMV can't defeat. Let me see. The District of Columbia. Well, the District of Columbia got over 6 million people, but that's not really a city. So, that's not really a city. You know what I'm saying? And that goes all the way back to the Civil War and all that type of stuff. So that's more like a territory. That's not really a city because they took an area between two states, made like the capital. That's not really a city. Yeah, that's like three states. So that's like, I guess. And then you got politicians and stuff there. So yeah, they make a lot of money. They robbing everybody. So you got a lot of politicians there getting overpaid and stuff like that. And so when you're talking about a territory, you can't compare that to a city. But I guess that's a territory. It's not a city. If you break the law, Lena, in the DMV, you go to the Fed. They don't have no state prisons. You go to the state. You go to the Fed. If you're in Washington D.C. and you break the law, you go to the Fed. That's why D.C. got the most dudes in the Fed, and can't nobody beat the D.C. dudes in federal prison because all D.C. dudes go to feds. So you can't compare that to Chicago. That's not a city. I'm talking cities. But there's a lot of jobs there though, because it's federal. It's federal. It's a lot of jobs. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of jobs. Houston got a lot of jobs. No, I'm not talking about you breaking the law. I'm just explaining why it's not a city. It's not a city. And the people there that break the law, if they was a city and they was in a state, they would go to state prison. You don't have state prisons because you're a territory. That's all I'm saying. I'm not talking about you going to jail. I'm explaining the difference between D.C. and Chicago and Houston. D.C. is not a city. It's not a part of no state. So they don't have state prison. You know what I'm saying? The area is probably good. I can see that. But it ain't no Chicago. Chicago's 50,000 times better than anything up there. That's why Chicago won best city in America 8 times in a row. So if you want to eat the best food in the city, this is the one. Chicago's way more beautiful than there. Chicago's way, there's not even no comparison. We got the Chicago River and Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan like an ocean. Now, Chicago's the most beautiful city in the United States. You know what I'm saying? But I could see living up in that area. It wouldn't be no whole bunch of big difference too much because it's metropolitan. I could do that. So I could do DC, I could do New York, I could do Houston, I could do Los Angeles, Miami. I don't know if I would like Miami. It's too foreign. You know what I'm saying? That's the major problem I got with coastal cities. Yeah, coastal cities, yeah, it's cool. Same thing like Texas. You might as well almost be in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? There's FBA in Chicago. You can't lose. Plus, if something popped off, like if some type of racial violence popped off, I wouldn't want to be with none of y'all at. I definitely want to be in Chicago. I wouldn't want to be. There's no city. If black people had to fight, there ain't no city I would rather be in than here. That's a fact. I feel safe here. Okay, I feel safe here. I don't know if I feel safe nowhere else. Yeah, LA, I liked LA when I was out there in the 80s, but LA is Mexico now. I wouldn't like LA. The blacks in LA let the Mexicans take it from them. They let them come and they firebombed their houses all in Compton and all that, and y'all didn't do nothing. Y'all let them punk y'all. So blacks in LA, y'all let them punk y'all. You got the Mexicans there using the N-word and all that. You know, you got the Mexicans in LA using the N-word and all this. So I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Mm-mm. LA would be my second home, but not no more because it's not the LA I was in. I was in LA in the 80s. That LA gone. You know, I was in LA in the 80s. And then I was back in Chicago with the whole Rodney King thing, right? So when I got in the music business in the 2000, early 2000, you know, we doing promo and we went back to LA. So I was out in LA, had the limousine. I told a limousine driver, drive me down Vermont. I wanted to go down and get me some eggplant sandwiches because you had the brother that had the shop with the eggplant sandwiches. So we get in the limousine. We driving from Hollywood because we had a hotel in Hollywood. We driving. And when we get to the hood, it's all Mexicans. I didn't recognize nothing. And when we got down to where the spot was at, it was the black people were nowhere down Vermont. They had ran them off. I said, damn. That was the last time I was in LA. And I think they took all that land from black people. Took it all. I said, damn. Philadelphia's cool. They got 1.5 million people. That ain't too bad. That's not like 2.5, but that's all right. It's a little old. It ain't fancy. Like Philadelphia is not fancy like Chicago. It's a little old. New York is a little old too. I don't know if they updated, but I know when I went to New York, it was kind of old. You know what I'm saying? We went to a whole Holiday Inn, and I ain't never seen no Holiday Inn that old in my life. It was raggedy and old. And it was like right now, it was around Times Square area. There was some Africans running it. It was where the hell am I? What's the name got mad at me? I got mad at us because we posted that we should have. We had did the song with the brother, the rapper. I ain't gonna say his name. We had did the song with the rapper from there, popular rapper. And we came back and we was talking about how New York was old and he got mad. And I said, yeah, it's a little old. You know what I'm saying? It's too much Islam there. It's too much Islam. It's too much Islam. I don't want to be around a bunch of Islamic brothers. That's cool, but that's not. I don't want to be around no bunch of brothers that's like emulating Arabs. You know what I'm saying? Because it gets a little weird when you're doing an Arabic religion and you emulating the people that some of the first people that put us into slavery. You know what I'm saying? That gets a little weird. Like them people put us in slavery for 700 years. That's before the whites. So that gets a little weird because Islam invaded Africa. So I don't get that, but to each his own. Your entire neighborhood is black. Y'all all say the N word. That's because y'all weak out there. That's because y'all blacks out there is weak. You ain't using the S word. Why you ain't using the S word with them? You let them use a derogatory word for black people, but I bet you ain't gonna use a derogatory for Mexicans and Hispanics. That's weak, bro. I don't respect it. Don't try to sell that to me. I don't respect it. Y'all some punks out there. Y'all blacks in LA, y'all punks. Y'all ain't standing on, y'all ain't no strong black people. Y'all let some people come and use a derogatory word towards you, but you can't use theirs. Now that's y'all weak. Yeah, blacks in LA is weak. On my soul. Y'all ain't standing on nothing. And this Chicago. You know, all these other cities got Crips and Bloods except Chicago. So we ain't trying to hear none of that. You can't bring that here. There's no Crips and Bloods in Chicago. Now y'all can go to other little cities with that. But y'all can't bring that here. We the original gangsters. Y'all second. You know, Chicago, GDs, BDs, Vice Lords, Blackstones, folk on hustles. We ain't no Crips and no Bloods. You can't bring that here. That's why Chicago's the dominant city. We the most dominant. You was able to infiltrate everybody else and make them. They way in New York talking about their Crips and Bloods. It's like, what? How the hell is you a Crip and Blood in New York? Y'all weak in New York too. Yeah, drop your flag challenge. Drop your flag challenge. New York, you should have never picked the flag up. That's all the other video. I didn't get into that. I started to do the drop your flag challenge and say you never should have picked it up, but I got other stuff to talk about. Yeah, they got GDs all over the place, though. I met some GDs up in Seattle, Washington, and stuff. You got GDs down in Texas and Florida. You got GDs in Oklahoma. But it's like if you were a GD, like, okay, if you're a vice lord in another city, and let's say I'm a vice lord and I come there, I'm automatically chief. That's how politics go here. You got to bow down when one of the members from Chicago come. You got to take a second seat. That's a fact. Politics is different. Yeah, you better. You still get the respect. Don't get me wrong. It ain't like you no punk or nothing, but you ain't in from the soil, and so that's like an ambassador come there. It's like let's say you in Chicago and you a senator or something. When the president come from D.C., you know that you know what I'm saying. Because, like, first, you ain't got enough members to go to war. How many of y'all is there? 10? Chicago got 100,000 gangbangers, at least. I mean, that's just how it go. You know, you ain't from the soil. Like, you know what I mean? Now, if you move there from here or wherever, you still get respect, don't get me wrong. But you're a transplant, like, you know? You still get respect, though. But, like, you ain't gonna be no universal. You only gonna have so much rank. Because you gotta get your rank from here. Like, you can't, how you get, you know what I'm saying? How you get your position? Who gave your position? It's still rank and file, and it's higher ranking members here. So I ain't gonna say no name, but if I come there and I'm up under dude, and dude was with Larry in there, and then I come out there, who you under? So you couldn't be that high rank because you ain't under. You don't know. You ain't riding with the top. You ain't riding with the govs like which governor y'all got. Who the governor? So if the governors are here, send me what governor you under. If you ain't direct from one of the govs, then that's how that work here. I mean, they already know it. It won't even be no problem because that's how they function. You know what I'm saying? They function like that off the rip. They already know. They know the law and all that like that. Al Capone ain't from Chicago. Al Capone from New York. Al Capone not from Chicago. Who told you Al was from Chicago? Al from New York. Let's take a break. Al Capone not from Chicago. Ladies, send them pictures. Yeah, Al Capone not from, you know, Al Capone not even the man. Al Capone ain't the man. Al Capone ain't the man in Chicago. He not the number one gangster from Chicago. Tony the number one man. The big tuna. This is the biggest gangster out of Chicago. Never got arrested, never got busted. Was untouchable. This is the biggest gangster out of Chicago. The big tuna. Google him. They'll tell you. Al ain't just the man. This the man. Those that don't know. Tony Accardo. That's the man. Al ain't the man. This the man. This the number one gangster from Chicago. Al ain't from Chicago. Big Tony is just the big tuna. Never got retired. Never went to prison. Never got unalived. Stayed under the radar. You understand? Do your research. They're going to tell you this is the number one. This is the number one. This is the biggest gangster in America. Bigger than Lansky, all of them. This is who law enforcement consider the biggest gangster in the United States. Look it up. Look it up. It's the law enforcement. Biggest gangster. You didn't even know what it was, I Am Everything. You didn't even know what that was. How is it cap when you don't know nothing? You don't even know who that is. How it's going to be cap? You never heard of him. Let me delete that. You never heard of dude. Go study first. You never heard of him. Bad, because according to the FBI and the government, no, Big Lucky, no. I'm telling y'all, according to the feds and everybody, this was the number one gangster in America. And the fact you don't know his name proves what I'm telling you. That's how big he was. He was so big you don't know him. Go do your research. I'm giving y'all a game. He was so big, nobody knew him. He was under the radar. He was the biggest gangster in America, according to the FBI. Untouchable. Like I said, Pete, he was the biggest gangster in America. Not Sam G, not Al Capone, not Lucky Luciano, none of them. This was the number one gangster in the United States. So big, nobody knew. Nobody knew. Passed away from natural causes. Never did a day in jail. Never went to prison. Never went to prison. Never was on the radar. That's how big he was. Look it up. Do your research. Anybody that watch me know I don't just be talking. I do my research. Now, if you want to argue with me, you got to come bring some money. You got to put your money up. You know what I'm saying? You got to put your money up. You got to put your money up to debate me. It costs you. I'm not going to debate you. Got to pay me. No, Vincent, no, I'm telling you who the biggest one was. According to all investigators of mob activity. Sam Giancana didn't call nothing. Tony called the shots, bro. Probably that you don't understand. Tony called the shots, bro. The big tuna. Come back tomorrow, man. It is what it is. Go look it up. The fact that you don't know his name over them names is the reason the Fed say he was the biggest. Just let it sink in. You don't know who he is. What that tell you? The fact that you don't know who he is, what do that tell you? That answers it right there. His name not ringing with none of them names, right? What that tell you? His name is not ringing with none of those other names. What do that tell you? What do that tell you? His name not ringing. He not Giancana. He not Al Capone. He not Lucky Luciano. His name not ringing at all. What that tell you? You understand? Chicago controlled America, not New York, because Chicago had all the trains. They moved the trains from St. Louis to Chicago. So all the trains came to Chicago. And where Chicago is located, you can't go north or south or east and west without the Chicago mob being able to control you, because you got to be on certain highways. Because we're in the middle. It's the Midwest. So when they moved the trains from St. Louis to Chicago and made Chicago and Illinois the number one train capital, that makes it what? If you move the center point to the trains to Chicago, what else moves to Chicago? Put it in the chat. If you move the center of the trains in America, because this is the capital of the trains in America, still today. If you switch the capital of the trains from St. Louis to Chicago, what else be the number one? What else comes to Chicago? The trucks. Because the trucks get everything off the train and disperse it. If you get, everybody know what I'm talking about. If you go on 55, right? Who in Chicago? When you're on 55 and you drive west, what you see all the way? Thousands of trucks parked. Thousands. Parked. thousands. Because, you know, it's like right here, when you right here, you can leave Indiana. You can leave Indiana, go through Illinois and be in Wisconsin in 90 minutes. Uh, 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 an hour, 15 minutes of its traffic. 3 states. What they call the freeway, the tri-state. Detroit, right there. St. Louis, right there. Wisconsin, right there. Minnesota, right there. Everything like right there. And like we right here. And everything is like right there. That's why they moved the trains from St. Louis here. It was a more central location. And, you know, Chicago got underground Wacker Drive. Now, underground Wacker Drive was where you drive under the city. So you know how you go to New York and you see them moving all them clothes and stuff? You ain't gonna see it in Chicago because all the trucks is underground. And they bring all the shipments underground. And they got elevators take them up to the stores. So if you're downtown, you're not gonna see none of the deliveries. All the deliveries is happening underground Wacker Drive. All the deliveries in Chicago happen underground Wacker Drive, and that's where the mob control under there. That's where they ran all the liquor and all that. So we got underground Wacker Drive downtown. It's under downtown. There's a whole bunch of roads under downtown. It's called Lower Wacker. And that's how they make all the deliveries. So Al Capone was a problem because if you wanted to bring your stuff, he would be able to sabotage your stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they hated him in New York like that. Hold on, I'll show you a picture. So you got underground Wacker Drive, and we still got a speakeasy here. If you come to Chicago, go to the speakeasy. They still got a speakeasy here. It's like a tourist attraction. Then they got a gangster tour too. They got a gangster tour where they'll take you to see all the gangster stuff. You know, everybody's still here. Little Al is here. Little Capone grandson's still here, doing his thing. He invited us to a party. I told my boy, I ain't going to. Oh, no. That's when Ice Cube was shooting the barbershop, and then they had that party. Cube had that party. And Al was he was all interested in what we was doing. I'm like, I ain't interested in what he doing, bro. I'm not going to that. My boy, he wanted to go. I'm like, bro, you don't go to that type of stuff. You asking for it. Man, bro, don't get involved with them people, bro. Leave them alone. And then one of them Capones is a detective. Was right there where we was hustling at. Where we was hustling out there around the corners, restaurant, and they would be in there. Capone, the detective. A little Al ain't no detective, but the other one. They still here. Man, I wasn't going to that stuff because, you know what I'm saying? They knew what we was on. Why you think they approach us? You know what I'm saying? No way. I'm not going to, well, I already know the play. They smell money. And it's like them type of people that's plugged with the police, man. They can sick the police on you, and now they can extort you to get the police off of you. Man, you know what I'm saying? You playing with fire. Hell no. My boy was cool with him. I was cordial. I wasn't acting crazy or nothing. I was cordial, but I wasn't going to that stuff, man. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want him to know me like that. And me and him, we wouldn't, especially then, we wouldn't have, that wouldn't have worked out right. I was a little rough around the collar. Mm-mm. Nice to meet you, and hopefully I don't see you again. You know what I'm saying? I was laughing too. You know, birds of a feather flock together. They seen how we was standing in there. They knew the vibe. It was a nice party though. My boy was supposed to be in barbershop. He ain't know how to do nothing they told him to do. They cut him out. I said, bro, they cut him out because he kept messing up. Looking at the camera. I said, bro. Oh my God, I got stories for days. He kept looking at the camera. They like, cut. Don't look at the camera. Be natural. I'm like, he can't do this, y'all. No, it ain't tough. I'm telling you what the feds say. You talking about what you saying, Eric. I'm telling you what the feds say. I'm telling you the story from law enforcement. I'm not telling you my story. That's what me and you different. You telling me your story. I'm not telling you my story. I'm telling you what law enforcement say. So this is how you get to underground Wacker Drive. You see down, go down under there. See, it's under the city. And all the deliveries to these buildings happens down under there. Yeah, Eric, he was calling all the shots. And even in New York, they had to check with him. Do your research. Yeah, you do your research, you'll read it. Y'all gotta go read. Go read. You know what I'm saying? It won't hurt you. Go read up on them, see what they tell you. I'm just telling you what the history say. You know, I be telling people what the history say, and then they be thinking this is my opinion. This is not my opinion. I'm telling you what law enforcement say. They say he was number one. They say he was number one, and they didn't know he was number one. They say that he was number one, and they didn't know he was number one till years after he had passed away. That's what law enforcement say. They ain't know nothing about him. They say they didn't know he ran everything. The Godfather is him, you know. Listen, y'all do know that the Godfather in the movie is him. Look it up. Look it up. The Godfather, they make you think is modeled after New York. No. Look it up. The Godfather is modeled off of them. This is the Godfather. Look it up. Casino, all of them were Chicago dudes. Joe Pesci and them, they was off. This who sent them. Look it up. Look it up. Hold on. Joe Pesci was playing Spilotro. Hold on. Hold on. Man, you know, I be trying to give y'all a game. So I don't really, you know, when I come over here and I be trying to teach, see, one thing when you're a black man, other black men don't respect that you got the knowledge. They got to see it on TV. You know what I'm saying? It's a shame that a black man like me, but if you go watch one of these TV shows and they say it, then it's going to be legit. It's a shame. See, look, Joe Pesci was playing the real gangster Anthony the Ant Spilotro in the movie Casino, with his character name being Nicky Santoro. Spilotro was a mob enforcer from the Chicago outfit who was sent to Las Vegas to oversee casino skimming operations in the 1970s. There we go right there. What do you want me to tell you? The outfit ran everything because of the location. You understand? Don't matter how gangster you are, if you don't got the trucks, if you don't got the trains, you limited. That's why the New York mob sick the IRS on Al. You know, they ratted and they sent the IRS on Al because nothing ain't gonna get to New York. How it's gonna get there? Ain't nothing coming from Houston or none of them getting up there. Ain't nothing getting up there if it's got to pass here. They're going to have to make all their stuff up there. For anything on these highways, it's going to be gangsters on the highways waiting for you to come through. And they're going to take it. And that's why Chicago was so powerful, because of the location. The city with big shoulders. Still today. Chicago's the most powerful city in the United States. New York is a decoy. They're not going to really let you know that. All the business in America is done from LaSalle Street. New York do international business to bring the money into the country. And when the New York bring the money into the country, 9 in the morning, it's only 8 in the morning here. When it's 9 in the morning, that money transfers to LaSalle Street. And then LaSalle Street does all the business in the United States. Then it goes out to Frisco and out there to do business in Asia. Then back around in New York, Chicago, California, Asia. California and New York is international business. Bosses, international bosses. It ain't like they're not bosses, but they're international bosses. Chicago is national bosses. LaSalle Street. Merchandise Mart, built by the Kennedys. That's just how it goes. It was hard for New York to run stuff because they started making the liquor in Chicago and down south. Who got all the corn? Who can make the whiskey? Down south. You see how Bonnie and Clyde was running around down south. Down south was making a lot of the liquor. They had some distilleries and stuff here, but they was making that liquor, man, in Wisconsin, Indiana. You know what I'm saying? They was running that liquor from down south. They got movies about that. Think about it. Where you gonna make the most liquor at? You gonna try to make it all Chicago? No. You're gonna make the liquor in the country. My mother's brother, Sugar Man, that's what he did. The liquor's made in Tennessee, Kentucky, right? What Tennessee and Kentucky known for? Still liquor. Tennessee and Kentucky was bigger than Alabama, Mississippi because it was closer. It don't take long to get the liquor from Tennessee to Chicago. Tennessee right there, bam. You know, when we go to Alabama, boom, we in Tennessee that same day. So we'd be in Nashville, Tennessee, or Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky. Right there, Louisville or Nashville. Boom, we stop there. Then the next day we go to Alabama. So we leave here. When we leave here at 4 in the morning. By about 3 or 4 in the day, we in Nashville or Tennessee. We in Nashville or Louisville. Then we spend the night. Then we get up and go to Alabama. That's a little ways. But it ain't nowhere to get from here to get to Nashville or get to Louisville. So that's where all the liquor was at. They could make more liquor. The city couldn't hide it from, they had distilleries, but the police was busting them up all the time. You know, it's hard to hide that in a big city. But it's easy to hide it in Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee. They don't really talk about how much liquor Indiana was popping with the liquor. That's why Chicago was making more money than New York with the liquor, because Indiana was, man, Indiana was a liquor stronghold. They just don't tell you. They just, they never really branded it and went into business. When they made it legal, Tennessee and Kentucky went into business. You know, you got Kentucky liquor, Kentucky whiskey, Tennessee whiskey. Indiana just stayed illegal. You know, Indiana should have got that money. Indiana should have really, even still now, Indiana need to start making some liquor. They need to have their own liquor coming out of Indiana. But, you know, Indiana still get cold weather. So, you know what I mean? It ain't far enough south unless you go to the bottom tip of it, that you got the kind of warmer weather in Kentucky and Tennessee where, you know, you could be out there bootlegging. You know what I'm saying? New York was famous for the mobsters because that's where they came in. That's where the immigrants came in at. So that's why they powerful with the mob, because that's where it was born at. That's where Al got cut. See, Al got cut in New York. You know, he was beefing with Lucky Luciano in there. He was beefing, you know, he was beefing with them when he was up there. But when they came down here, they could make more money because now they could do business south instead of north. They could be on them country roads and run that liquor up and pay off them country sheriffs and police, and they going to look the other way. You know what I'm saying? So that's how Chicago was able to surpass New York. But New York was always able to stay on top because New York always had more people. So New York always was going to get money because New York was where the immigrants came. So they had a gang of people. We ain't never had as many people as New York. That's why when Chicago, we respect New York because they got the numbers. They got 8 million people. We only got 3 million. New York ain't nothing to play with. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. But New York is way up there. They can't service like we can. We can service everybody quicker. The only place we have a hard time servicing is out west, California, out there. But anything around here, Philadelphia, New York, all of that, Alabama, all that, Chicago can service that whole East Coast because we right there on the lake. So we can put the stuff on the boats and send it right to Michigan. Right across, put that stuff on the boat. Boom, then we right by the Mississippi, right? Boom, run it over the Mississippi River right there. The Mississippi River right there. That's not far from Chicago. Just drive west, hit the Mississippi, throw it on the boats, send it down south, or pick it up from down south. So like Chicago, that's why Chicago is a really powerful city. The location is with the lake, the Mississippi River, and where it's located, it's not so far north because, you know, you got Lake Michigan and we at the tip of Lake Michigan. That's a long way from the top. We got to drive all the way up to Detroit, and then you could take the bridge and go to Canada. See what I'm saying? We can't just go to Canada, but we can get to Canada quicker than they can get to Canada down south. So we like it in the middle, the Midwest. We in the middle. And so, you know, we can make all that money, and all the money was over this way. They hadn't developed the West yet. So all the money was Boston, you know, Philadelphia, New York, Louisville, Kentucky, Nashville, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida. That's where all the money was at. And we was right there. We can get all that money. The West wasn't developed yet to get the money. And the cities in the West is far apart. They're not close at all. Once you go out West, it's a long way from a big city to the other big city. But over here is not really that. I could be to Philadelphia in no time. New York too, really. It really don't take that long to drive from here to New York. Or from here to Louisville or Nashville. So yeah, this was the man, but he didn't make no movies. They didn't tell you who he was when they made The Godfather. But he was under the radar so long, and he let them other guys have the big names, and they all got shot and all that because everybody thought they was the big bosses, and they wasn't. Everybody in New York and everybody everywhere. This who they had to come see. This was The Godfather. Ain't that deep? This the real Godfather. It's the real boss in the United States. And the lesson is keep your mouth shut. Don't let nobody know you the boss. You know what I'm saying? Let them think Capone the boss. Let them think Luciano the boss. Let them think them other people is the boss. The boss, nobody don't need to know the boss is the boss. That was genius. Nobody really knew he was the boss. And that was genius. That's deep, ain't it? Nobody knew this was the boss. Look at him. He looked like the boss, don't he? His name is Tony Accardo. Just look up Tony, the big tuna. Never got busted. Never got pinched for nothing. The feds didn't even know he was the Don until he was passed away. Natural causes. They ain't even know he was the Don. Now, you know that's deep. The feds didn't even know he was the number one man in America. They didn't even know. They was looking at Gambino and all of them. That's some deep, ain't it? And dude was like under the radar. That's a deep story. Hey, look it up. Man, look it up. Y'all know I read it. Y'all know I ain't gonna tell y'all nothing I ain't studied and read it. Where I get that from? I can't make this stuff up. I didn't know he was either. I had never heard of him. Man, I had never heard of him. But I was doing my research and ran into him, and they're like, this is the real Godfather from the movie The Godfather. That he was the number one gangster in the United States. He ran Miami, New York, and all that. Vegas, he ran all that. And stayed under the radar. Never got arrested. The police didn't know who the hell he was, which is crazy. The feds said they didn't know who he was. That's crazy. That's why they call him the big tuna. You know how they say we after the big fish? That's just the big fish. They call him the big tuna. Hey, thank me later. I was shocked too. Nobody knew who he was. You tell me that ain't crazy. Well, that's absolutely crazy. When you research it, you're going to see they say he was super smart, super duper duper smart. Retired, like down in Florida somewhere. They never touched him. They never could tie him to nothing. This is who the law enforcement look up to. This their favorite gangster. Because he was smarter than them. This the FBI and them historically list their favorite gangster because they didn't know he was a gangster. He's the slickest gangster in gangster history. You know what I'm saying? They knew the gangsters in Italy. They knew all the gangsters in New York. They knew a lot of the gangsters in Chicago. They knew the gangsters in Florida. And they did not know him at all. They didn't know nothing about him till he passed away. And that's crazy. They didn't know nothing about him till he passed away. He moved like a president. You know what I'm saying? He didn't hang out. He wouldn't be with a lot of women. He didn't go to none of that stuff the gangsters went to. Nothing. He didn't go to none of that stuff. He didn't show up on no film, none of that. He didn't let nobody know he was a gangster. You know how gangsters want everybody to know he gangster? He just stayed out the way. He wasn't interested in the limelight or none of that. He had buffer zone dudes that do stuff. They didn't even know who they was. His whole little crew was just isolated. And this is who they made. This is the real Godfather they made the movie about. See, when I seen the Godfather, I would have swore that was somebody from New York, wouldn't you? I would have been like, the Godfather, that's from New York. I knew Casino came out of Chicago. He was behind that. He the one sent them out there to do that in Vegas. Remember in Casino when they got sloppy and everybody got wiped out? This who did it. And when everybody got wiped out, the feds couldn't trace it back, could they? Don't get no more. Think about Casino. They got sloppy and everybody got wiped out, which means it wasn't no way to trace it back. Just think about that. Boy, don't get no more gangsters. Everybody had to, as soon as they got sloppy, everybody had to go. Everybody, once they got sloppy, everybody had to go. Case closed. That's some deep, right? Well, case was closed. Never traced it back to him. Because everybody went out there, got sloppy, was unalive. They show it just like that in the movie too, don't they? Like people start getting blown up in cars and buried in the desert. Cut all ties. And they didn't know who he was until he passed away. He retired. You know how the families would have those meetings? He wouldn't go to none of that. You know how the 5 families meet? No, he wouldn't go to none of that. He ain't show up at nothing. Like, that's crazy, man. They found out everything about him after he was gone. Anyway, that's what's up. Look out for your family. If they don't get this back, look out for your people. But I'm sure they're not gonna let that happen. I'm thinking they gonna do something next week to get the government back open, and I'm thinking that Trump, he's not stupid. He's gonna give out some type of stimulus check. Because if he don't give out a stimulus check, this country gonna be really hurting after Thanksgiving and Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. Stay positive and stay out of trouble, and keep your head up. Don't be getting depressed. If you get depressed, it's just gonna make things worse. Victory.